earlier this week I went to go see the concert for Big Wreck, out supporting their new album Bud for the Sun. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with Big Wreck, this is a band that's been around for over 20 years. I first saw them when they opened up for Dream Theater back at the House of Blues in their late 90s, and I've been hooked ever since. Now they are led by Ian Thornley on guitars and vocals, and this man is a monster. Now sadly this year their co-founder Brian Doherty had passed away, but other members that have been around for quite some time are still with them. Chris McMillan on bass, Chuck Keeping on drums, and the new addition for this year on guitar is Chris Cadell. Now I saw them here in St. Louis at the Delmar Hall. It's a fantastic club. There's not a bad viewing angle anywhere in the show. Now when they opened up their first song, it was the opening track off their new album called Voices. And it was perfect way to introduce the band because it was a wall of sound. It sounded like 100 guitars just smacking you in your chest, your gut, your pants, your shirt. Everything was moving. The bass was incredible. I hadn't heard sound like that in a very long time. It was amazing. Now since Big Wreck's been around for over 20 years, it didn't take long for them to hit one of their classic songs. And the first one they hit was that song off their first album, In Loving Memory. Now there were two songs off the new album that I was anxiously waiting for them to play. The first one they hit was Locomotive, and Locomotive has a classic Ian Thornley lick on it. Now in this song, he plays a hammer guitar. Or is it a hammer guitar? I don't know. I'll probably get some comments telling me which way, but I'm going to say hammer 12 string. And some might say it was a bit of a train wreck, but it wasn't. It was a great example of a guitar god taking something that's going completely wrong and finishing it like a champ. Now, as you can see, that hammer guitar went completely out of tune, and I wanted to show you that because I wanted you to see how a classic player like Ian can take something that's gone completely wrong and finish it like a champ. But something tells me that you might be seeing a Sir 12-string order coming from Ian pretty soon, because that was a little rough for him, I'm sure. Now, the other song that I was waiting for them to play was Too Far Gone. Now, this song also has some classic Ian riffs in it, has some fantastic guitar harmonics. It's just one that I love listening to off the album, and I couldn't wait to hear it live. Now, throughout the show, Ian plays quite a few Sir guitars that are familiar shapes, like a T-style, an S-style, and in here he's playing a Jaguar-style guitar, and it's still a Sir guitar, but they're playing the song Help Is On The Way off the new album. Now, since we're talking about some of the guitars that Ian was playing, let's talk about some of his gear. Now, he mostly plays Sir guitars throughout the whole show. He switches quite a bit, but he does favor the S-style guitar that he calls Roughneck, and that is a great sounding guitar, and I believe it's the guitar you hear quite a bit on the current album, But for the Sun. In the middle of the show, he breaks out a double neck guitar from Ernie Ball, Music Man, and he plays Amazing Grace. And it's just one of those songs, I love hearing everybody's different version of it, and he's one of those guys that just kills it. And after he kills it with Amazing Grace, they kick into Albatross. And I believe this is the guitar that he played in the music video. Now, Ian's amps appear to be backstage hidden along with most of his pedals. His pedal board did have a Voodoo Labs switcher, probably a custom version, that allowed him to switch with all of his presets and multiple pedals because he has quite a bit of effects throughout lots of his songs. He did have what appeared to be either a volume or expression pedal, and I think it might have been more of an expression or on and off pedal that he was using to either switch on a wet-dry rig or possibly just going completely stereo. And his guitar cabs were custom audio amplifier cabs, or made by Custom Audio Electronics. They were mic'd also with a Sennheiser E906. That is one of my favorite guitar cab mics, and I was glad to see that he's using it. Now, Dave McMillan got to show off his bass skills with a little bit of a bass solo. Now, Dave did switch his bass guitars quite a bit throughout the show. He used 4 strings, a 5-string Stingray, and then he also had an 8-string bass, which was really cool to hear. He broke that out a couple times during the show. He looked to be using a Fender Bassman amp and a large cabinet that had somewhere around the neighborhood of 8 10-inch speakers in it. A couple times Chris Cadell got to break out and show his guitar skills, and here's one of the moments where he was just showing what he could do. Chris used a wide variety of guitars. He had a Yamaha guitar, he had a Suhr guitar. He was playing through a couple heads. He had a Suhr head and he had a Supro head with a matchless cabinet. Now there was a Supro cabinet, but I'm not sure if that was Ian's or Chris's. It could have been part of Ian's a wet-dry rig or a stereo rig. Hard to say for sure. Now, Big Wreck ended the show with the classic song The Oath from their first album. Now, the opening lick to this song is one that's always been a mystery to me. The effects, everything about it, how he plays it. I'd love to know how he does it. But you know what? Sometimes it's good to have mystery, because as we try to figure it out, we end up discovering new things for ourselves rather than just telling us how to do it, right? And I think Ian likes a little mystery, because some of his stuff was hidden, but could be wrong. So for those of you that haven't seen a Big Wreck show, I hope this whets your palate, gets your taste buds going. Get out there and go see a Big Wreck show in a city near you. You are not going to be disappointed. This is one of the greatest rock bands out there playing, and you can get right up there and see them do their thing. Sweat pour on you, whatever you want to see. You can see how they play it. Maybe not see all the effects, but that's all right. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.